Hey everybody, how you doing today? It's time for another episode of Sergeant K's Corner. Obviously, I'm Sergeant K. If you are I really don't have any longtime followers. Our show's only 6 months old. But if you're a previous follower, welcome. If you're a new follower, welcome. I hope you get something out of this. I hope you enjoy the show. I want to talk today about behavior. Christian behavior. You know, one of the ways that the world is supposed to see that we're different is by our love, by how we love one another, by how we love others. But here's the thing. When others are watching us, when people that are not born again believers are watching us and watching how we treat one another, they're going to think in their head, I have something, they have something that I want. Or if they see us treating each other poorly, they're going to think, why would I want to become one of them or be like them when they're not very nice even to one another? I have enough people as it is that aren't nice to me these days between social media and some of the other things going on. I don't need to be part of a church where I'm going to be treated poorly. You know, people get judged when they walk through the doors of a church for what they wear. I've had that happen to me here locally. And I'll give you a little background to that. My parents, my father had passed away. My mother was in a nursing home. I had to liquidate everything in order to take care of my mom and to help her out with getting her Medicaid and everything going. My mother was a hoarder, and we had to go clean out the house. We took a construction dumpster full of stuff, garbage, literal garbage out of the house, okay? So we were in the process of trying to find a new church. And we went to church. We went in jeans and sweats and, you know, not dressed in a tie and all of that good stuff, and had a comment made to us the minute we walked in the door from a woman who was, you know, standing there wearing a little bit lower than knee-length dress, you know, well-dressed kind of thing. They didn't know what was going on in my life. We'd been going there. This was our second or third time. And incidentally, it was the last time that we went back there. They had no idea what was going on in my life. They didn't need to know what was going on in my life. You know, we were still new at that church, and you know, we hadn't really met anybody or opened up. But, you know, when people come in the doors of your church, if you're looking at how they're dressed, or if you're looking at them because maybe they're handicapped or something different, and you make them feel incredibly uncomfortable by either the way you treat them or the way they see you treating one another. That same church that I'm talking about, we went there, and the two people on the worship team were involved in an argument. And they were involved in a pretty heated argument back and forth with one another. You know, we kind of passed it off. We were like, okay, you know, no church is perfect. We don't know what was going on. But then 2 weeks later to get judged when they didn't know what was going on, you know, that's like completely inappropriate. And yeah. But the bigger picture is when somebody comes, let's say they're dressed nice, okay, just moved into the area and they're looking for a home church. And they come to church and they see a bunch of born-again believers / sinners. Because we are all still sinners. We're covered by Christ, covered by His blood, okay? But we are not perfect. We still do things wrong. But when they see us treating each other poorly, what does that say? Why would I want to go back to a church? Why would I want to become a part of a body of believers that doesn't even treat each other well? That uses their mouth to hurt one another? Yeah, that's not something I want to be a part of. You know, Paul addresses um, Christian behavior in Galatians. He addresses Christian behavior in Ephesians. And I'm going today to um, Galatians. And I'm going to discuss the fruits of the Spirit with you. But let me read from there. It says, "But the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness," okay, "goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. And to those who are Christ's, having crucified the flesh with its passions and desires, if we live in the Spirit, let us go walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another or envying one another." So what does that mean? You know, James talks about the tongue, and I've already done a show on the tongue. I'm not going to do that. What that means is when you say something nasty or you treat someone poorly that you go to church with, you are not in the fruits of the Spirit. You haven't followed that. When you go behind somebody's back to do things, you're not using the fruits of the Spirit. You're hurting them. If somebody is in charge of something at church and you don't like the way it's being done, or you have a question about the way it's being done, you should talk to them and offer up a solution or offer up a better way to do it. Don't just criticize. Don't just use your words to treat someone else like garbage. If you don't like something that someone else said, sometimes the best thing you can do is just walk away. It's that simple. The worst thing that can happen is that little groups, little friend groups and cliques form in churches, and it goes on all across the country. All across the country. And people get disincluded by their little group. Okay? And that's not something that can be done. That's different than like a home Bible study where the group is getting together once a week or once every other week or whatever, and they're having a Bible study and doing a potluck or something like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a church-wide outing or a group outing of some type, and somebody gets disincluded because one other person in the group doesn't necessarily care for them. Or you have people in the church who take medication because maybe they have something wrong with them, or people in the church who are in a wheelchair, or people in the church who use a cane to walk, or whatever the case may be. Not everybody is perfect, but that doesn't mean that you treat them poorly. It means that you watch what you say. If you can't say something to lift somebody else up, then be quiet. Shut up. There are people in my church that have issues, and they make me uncomfortable. And I make a point of still going to those people and saying hello and talking with them and finding out how they are. And I, in my prayer time, ask the Lord, Lord, help me to become comfortable with these people. Help me to lift them up, because I'm quite sure that they have had enough people who have said unkind things to them. I don't want to be that. Jesus, I want to be more like you. And sometimes people in your own church or even in your Bible study group are going to say something that rubs you the wrong way. You know, I posted something on Facebook the other day that says, McDonald's will screw your order up 101 times. And you still go back. But get offended at church just once and you quit. Or you leave the church. You know, it's not using the fruits of the Spirit. Not using the fruits of the Spirit, not lifting people up with your words, not staying in unity. What it boils down to basically is selfishness that causes church splits. I'm not talking about where elders have doctrinal differences. Okay? I mean, doctrine is doctrine. And someone might be misinterpreting it, but you still address those different things with the fruits of the Spirit. And you watch your tongue. Like James said, there's a person on the other end of your words. When you post stuff on social media, you're not just posting something and insulting your cell phone. There is a person on the other side of that that's going to receive that. When you don't invite somebody, you hurt them. Even if they can't make it, give them the opportunity to say, you know what, I have to work that day, or you know what, I can't make that because I got to get home and take care of the kids, or whatever. I already had a previous plan. You know, I'm sorry, but thank you for the invite. But give them the opportunity. And don't expect other people to be your cookie cutter idea of what a Christian should be. Holy cow, stop and think about this. Jesus was not the cookie cutter idea to the Pharisees of what a Jew should be. He was not the cookie cutter idea of what the Messiah should have been. They didn't believe he was the Messiah because he came like a regular Joe. He didn't come in with trumpets and fanfare and armies and you know, all of that kind of stuff. He came in the world as a poor little baby. It was not what the Jews expected. You cannot treat somebody poorly because they don't fit your idea of what a cookie cutter is. If you can't control your mouth, if you can't control your actions, and if you're not mature enough at this particular point in your life, then shut up and stay away from that person until such time as you get your act together in that particular area. Sanctification is a lifelong process. For you, for me, for everybody involved. And different people are going to be in different stages of that sanctification. If you can't help them, if you can't be an encouragement for them to continue on, certainly the Bible tells us not to become a stumbling block for them. So we really need to practice the fruits of the Spirit consciously. Consciously practice the fruits of the Spirit. Don't go behind somebody's back and do something. Don't go behind somebody's back and backbite. Yeah, the Bible talks about that too. There's another instance where you need to just be quiet. Don't do something without somebody's approval or without getting the person that's in charge of that area of the church, without their approval, without getting them involved. Don't go around people. Don't do the kind of things that are hurtful and offensive. Take a minute, take a step back, think about what you're doing, think about what you're saying, show some wisdom. And while I'm addressing mostly younger Christians, that goes for older people too, because there's a lot of older people out there that just don't stop and think about what they say before it escapes from their mouth. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, I say it in my house. Words are like toothpaste. Once it's out of the tube, you can't put it back in. Well, so are your actions. Once you've done something, you can't put it back. And you can apologize all day long, but you've still caused a hurt. Yeah. You have still caused a hurt. How is that behaving like Jesus? It isn't. It isn't. That's my viewpoint. If I've offended anybody or hurt anybody's feelings, maybe you need to take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I behaving like a mature Christian? Am I exhibiting the fruits of the Spirit? And at that point, if you can't say absolutely yes, then it's on you. If I can't say absolutely yes, then it's on me. I'm Sergeant K. This has been another episode of Sergeant K's Corner. I hope you enjoyed it. If you were offended by it, you know the answer. Too bad. My show. God bless you, and I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.